Hello and welcome to Three Peaks Podcast, where we take a break from the hike of life and appreciate the views. Today, we have a very special guest, Nathan Covey. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, it's great to be on here. Awesome opportunity to be on here with Three Peaks Podcast. So yeah, I'm Nathan Covey. I'm an entrepreneur here in Utah County. We have some offices out here in Lehigh, and I'll tell you a little bit about what we're working on. But I grew up, I wanted to be a NBA general manager growing up. I was obsessed with the NBA and basketball and all of that stuff. And as time went on, my interests slowly changed and I started to realize I just loved creating things. I loved creating products and services and things that helped people and blessed people's lives. So that has led me to where I am today. So a few things that I've done in the journey. I was actually blessed to be part of Bridal of Hope, which is a charity foundation here in Utah. And I was able to help start that with my family. So I'm a co-founder of Bridal of Hope. And what we do at Bridal of Hope is help young women that are struggling with anything from anxiety, depression, low self-confidence to even abuse. We help them develop confidence and resilience through equestrian training, through horseback riding lessons. So we actually teach them how to ride a horse. We teach them the 7 habits of highly effective people. So we teach them some life skills. And that's where I really learned my passion for marketing, for going out to the world and telling them what I'm working on and telling them about Bridal of Hope. And I really loved the idea of being able to market online through digital platforms like social media, through email marketing, through websites and Google search engine. I think it's really cool that we live in a day and age where you can find pretty much anything on the internet and you can find really positive things. So that's where I started. And then I had a lot of interest from there. I've always been very passionate about mental health. I believe that it's something we don't talk enough about as a society. And there have been good trends in the right direction where we're starting to talk about it more, but there's still a stigma about mental health. And I've always been very interested in that. And that's something that we've really helped with Bridal of Hope. But I'm still part of Bridal of Hope. But what I started to realize is I want to create something that I can reach everyone in the world with. And Bridal of Hope is an amazing thing, but it's really hard to get horses everywhere in the world. And also Bridal of Hope is for women only, which is, it's an awesome women's program. But I wanted to create something that would, a mental health product, something that could help every person in the world with their mental health. So I actually co-founded a company, it's been about 1.5 years now. It was called Happy Soul. I was actually a student at Brigham Young University at the time. And my business partner was actually, the way I met him and the way I was introduced to him was through a school assignment. So I actually had a homework assignment to interview an entrepreneur. And so I found this guy and I interviewed him, and he called me back a few months later and he's like, "Hey, I have this amazing idea for a mental health company." I was like, "Wait, I love mental health." So we connected and we actually ended up creating a company with some amazing technology. And this technology, it's really cool. You may have never heard of anything like this because it truly is unique, but we helped create an algorithm where through the tones of your voice, we can give you an analysis of your mental health. So you can just record your voice on the phone for 40 seconds and you submit your recording. And then 10 seconds later, a score will come back saying how stressed you are, your risk for depression, your risk for anxiety, and tons of other metrics. And we worked with a company in Provo called Canary Speech to develop this company, where they're a group of speech scientists that created this algorithm, and it's amazing. There's a bunch of data that shows it's just as effective and just as accurate as a test you'd go in to see at the doctor. Mm-hmm. So we helped create this company, and I was doing that, and we actually hadn't even created a sellable product yet. We had the voice technology, we had a roadmap and like an idea of what we were going to develop, but we literally hadn't sold anything yet. We were still really small, just a few people, right? And we were starting to talk to investors. This was just about a year ago. And we were looking for someone that could fund the app because it was going to cost a lot of money to actually build this out and put it on the App Store and the Google Play Store. And we ran into a guy, an investor here in Utah who used to be a huge Bitcoin miner. And I don't know for the audience out there if you know much about cryptocurrency or Bitcoin mining, but it's starting to become a really big thing. But this particular investor was into Bitcoin mining all the way back in 2013, before really anyone had even heard about it. And he had been very successful because, as you know, the price of one Bitcoin back in 2013 was about $100. Now the price of Bitcoin is about $40,000.
Right.
It's the most valuable asset of the last decade. So as you could imagine, this investor was very successful and with Bitcoin, but he also had a really big vision to start a crypto project and a blockchain project, more specifically, around health and wellness. He wanted to create a project where individuals could own their health. They could own their personal health records. They could be rewarded in cryptocurrency when they go and exercise, where they could see a doctor through a decentralized network without having to go through any sort of middlemen or any person like that or any insurance company. He had this really cool vision and he was starting to execute on it, and they had just started. It was actually, at the time, it was called Blue United, and they were looking for more employees and potential partnerships. And when he came across what we were doing at Happy Soul with the voice recognition, he was like, we need that in our project. And at first we were going to do a partnership and we were going to work together very closely with them. But then as we kept talking, he was like, you guys are still small. You guys are awesome. Let's just buy, like, I want to buy your guys' company. So he actually bought Happy Soul when we had not even been around for a year, and we were still just a few people. And and part of the deal was to come in and help build this Blue United blockchain health project, but to also incorporate what we were doing at Happy Soul with the voice recognition into this project. And I did not know anything about cryptocurrency my first day when I showed up. This was back in October 2021, just recently.
Yeah.
And I showed up and I was like, dang, like, I have no idea what Bitcoin is. Like, I've heard of it. I own some Bitcoin, but I don't know what it does and why it's important. And I just had to start learning about crypto. Flash forward to today, we've renamed and we've rebranded. We are now Galvin Health. And we have about 20 full-time employees now. I was the third employee. So we've grown a ton just in the last 6 months. And there's a lot of growth to come. But flash forward to today, and I believe that blockchain technology, and if you're not familiar, blockchain is the technology that powers Bitcoin. It's the technology that powers cryptocurrency. It's the next phase in infrastructure of the internet. I now believe this is going to change the world. I think in 5 to 10 years, this technology is going to touch every industry, every sector. It's going to solve a lot of problems. The internet is awesome, but it's brought problems as it has solved them. And we believe that if we can use blockchain within the internet, we can solve a lot of the problems that the internet brought.
Absolutely.
So yeah, anyways, that's my story. I'm now here at Galvin. We want to change healthcare and wellness through the blockchain, and we're already starting to do it. So yeah, that's me.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. And like you said, you started learning about marketing at a very young age. So how are you able to take those skills from the time that you had and just like apply it to your work?
Yeah, honestly, like, I think you need to start developing those skills as young as possible, because now I don't have time to learn how to do videography. I don't have time. No, like, really, I don't have time to learn how to do Photoshop. Like, some of these computer skills and software skills and technical skills that I learned when I was younger have been a huge blessing to my life, because now when we're working on different projects here, I have an array of skills that I can provide, right? Yeah. I think sometimes in our society, we rely so much on, oh, you need to go to business school, you need to go get a marketing degree. And I'm all for education, but what I'm even more for is self-education, going out and experimenting. What you guys are doing, starting a podcast. Don't go don't go take a class about podcasts, go and start a podcast, right? Yeah. And so doing these things will pay off down the road, because you're going to have a lot of skills and experience that a lot of people won't have. So anyways.
And you mentioned filmmaking and videography. If I remember, you actually took a video production class at your high school.
Yes. So I took a class. So I went to Lone Peak High School in Utah County. Are you guys familiar with the high school?
Yes. It's actually right down the road, I think.
Oh, do you guys go to Lone Peak?
No,
I'm going next year.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyways, so yeah, I went to Lone Peak High School. We had a unique opportunity because growing up, I just thought, oh, if you want to be on like a team or club or high school, it's either like your sports or your arts or things like that. But I never thought that you could have like a video team or a video club. But it's kind of a new thing here in Utah County. A lot of the schools are starting to incorporate like a film team almost. It's even more than a class. It's an extracurricular activity. So at Lone Peak, it just started probably in 2015, but we had an amazing teacher come in named Dustin Topham. And he was like, I want to have Lone Peak be the best like high school film studio production team in the state. And he got a lot of funding from the district, got some really good cameras and equipment and studios. And he really believed in his students a lot. And I actually, in high school, I kind of jumped around a little bit. Like I couldn't really find like what I loved or what my purpose was. I played basketball sophomore year, but I kind of sat on the bench and didn't really play. And I was like, I'm wasting my time. And so junior year, I tried to run for student body president and I lost. And I was like, okay, what should I do? Like, what am I doing with my life? And then this teacher, he believed in me. I took like his video production class, which was just like a simple like requirement class or whatever for like an art credit. Yeah. And he was like, you have a lot of talent. And when I didn't win student body president and I didn't have anything really to do my senior year, he was like, come do United. That's what the video class is called, or the film program. Yeah. That's what it's called. The film program at Lone Peak. It's called United. He was like, come do United. Like, this is what you're going to do your senior year. So I was like, okay. So I did it. And I realized I love film, because film is very entrepreneurial. You take an idea, something that doesn't really exist, and then you turn it into this finished product and you get to show people it. And the best feeling ever is when you show someone a video that moves them emotionally, right? And I feel like entrepreneurship is the same way. You create a product that can make someone's day. So anyways.
Yeah. And I'm in a video production class as well right now. Awesome. And I'm putting those skills to use for this podcast. So yeah, absolutely. Those skills come in handy while you're growing up. So other questions that we have is, with marketing, there's obviously a lot of information that needs to be known for reaching the right audience and getting your message out. So how do you find the best way to make a message that reaches out and connects with people?
I think being genuine. I think first you need to know your audience, and then you need to be genuine in your message. And also having a product that you believe in. Like I'll be honest, like if I am trying to push or market a product that I don't believe is actually helpful or useful, then it won't be genuine and I won't like want to do it. I'll feel like I'm just doing it for the money. So I think first you got to have a product you believe in, Because if you have a product you believe in, you think of ways to push it to people. Then you need to know the exact audience. You need to know their demographic. You need to know how old they are. You need to know their interests. You need to know their emotions, what they're intrigued by. And then you can forge a message around that.
So with learning a lot of skills from high school to where you are now, how has the impact of your journey helped you in your career of marketing?
Can you ask that question again?
Yeah, so basically, how has the skills you've picked up along the way helped you where you are right now?
Oh, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't spend time in high school developing skills. I'm serious, because I'm in a very unique situation for my age. And it's because I wasn't just going to school. I was doing things in my extracurricular time, like learning how to build websites and learning how to do videography and learning how to do things like that, that it helped me get to this position. Otherwise, I wouldn't, not only would I not be qualified, but I wouldn't be able to do what I do now. So, yep.
And with technology growing and developing, there's a large usage of it going to waste with sources of social media. And teenagers are constantly consuming numerous hours of content. My question to you is, how should younger people use the technology they have now to better their life for their future?
I believe there's a balance in all things. I don't think we should ever be extreme, where we should say, oh, like we're not gonna. I mean, some people do believe in that, like, oh, we're not gonna do any social media. But I feel like there are positive things that happen on social media. There are good things that happen out there. So I think for the younger generation, just you need to have balance. Like you need to track your time on your phone and be aware. And there are times and maybe even weekends where you don't go on social media and you need to take breaks and you need to go out and be with people. And then there are some times where it's appropriate to have fun on your phone and like look at funny videos and stuff. But I just think you shouldn't be spending a lot of time, like less than 30 minutes or even less than an hour a day on that stuff. But anyways.
Yeah. And with the company that you are working with, Galvin, I think is what it was. How has social media helped you kind of spread it around Utah?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the good things about social media. When you have a business or a new idea, the old way to get the word around was a lot harder. You had to go put signs up in people's yards, which we still can do. And you had to send out mail, right? And like you could get billboards and things like that. But now we can reach thousands of people just by starting to push out content every day. So as for Galvin, it has been very useful having social media just to share our message and to get people to start to buy our products. And it's really effective through social media because you can spread it like wildfire. So.
Yeah. Going back a little bit, you said like you were really interested in mental health and social media. So I was wondering, because I mean, like teenagers these days are like on social media a lot. So it's like affecting their mental health because of like insecurities and all of that and comparing themselves. So what's like your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because like I said, I don't like extremes. Like I don't like, for example, I have social media and I post positive things on there. I honestly think it all comes back to time. Like if your most of your day and most of the stuff you're learning is on social media, that's where you're going to start getting like, you're going to start struggling with mental health.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going and playing a sport and hanging out with your friends and spending time with your family and you're filling most of your life with like positive things, I think when you go on social media, you'll see through the negative and you'll see through the fakeness and you'll only look at the positive. But if you're living in that world every second of the day, then you're not even going to be aware what it's doing to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I honestly think it just comes back to balance. Like You need to put like reminders on your phone and like time limits and like hold yourself accountable and not spend more than like, if you're starting to recognize like my mental health's not doing good, even taking breaks or doing fasts from it.
Yeah. And along with taking these breaks from social media and like the stress of life, sometimes people find peace and relaxation in activities like sports, hanging out with friends, or doing a simple hobby. What are some of the hobbies you like to do to calm the nerves and take a break?
Basketball. I can like, everyone needs that thing where they can just lose track of time and just like feel amazing, you know? And when I go and play basketball with a bunch of my friends, just for 2 hours, it goes so quick, but I just like, all the stress goes away. I get to focus on one thing. So basketball is it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I wanted to ask is, in your career, creating a app and making sure that every single person is taking account of their mental health, how has the development of this company helped you take care of your health?
It's a really good question. And to be honest, it's a good question because sometimes I get really stressed, like being in a startup. It's really stressful. There's a lot to do. You feel overwhelmed a lot. And a lot of people in startups get burnt out. And sometimes I feel myself getting burnt out, but I feel that since we're talking about it all day, like mental health and how we're going to help people, it's always a good reminder for me. And a lot of times I'll come out of meetings and I'm like, you know what, like I need to be living this stuff more. And so I think just the fact that we are very focused on our mission to help people with health just reminds me that I also need to take care of myself in this journey. So that's how it's helped me.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, you said before that you were able to meet one of your friends during college during the creation of this company. I just wanted to ask, a lot of people think that the knowledge of becoming an entrepreneur comes from sources of a college and university. And sometimes people say that's wrong. So my question is to you is, where does the true knowledge of becoming an entrepreneur would come from?
Starting your own business. Like, I really don't think you learn about entrepreneurship until you got your boots on and you're in the mud and you're actually trying to start your own business. Cause, like I said before, I value education. I believe there's a time and place, but when it comes to entrepreneurship, the best thing you can do is go and start a business tomorrow. Like learn how to establish an LLC, figure out how your product's going to solve someone's problem and how much they're willing to pay for it. And that's where you really start to learn. And that's where I started to learn as well.
Yeah. And on your journey as an entrepreneur, what are some of the life skills you picked up on the way that you've been?
I'd say not. Honestly, I'll tell you this, like, I don't know if this is really a skill. Maybe it's confidence or not being afraid. But as an entrepreneur, you kind of have to fake it till you make it. You're going to get in a room sometimes with people that are way smarter than you, that have way more money than you, that have way more experience than you. And you're going to be scared to like talk or like feel confident, but you just have to fake it. Like you literally have to not be afraid of anything. You have to not be afraid to call up $1 million investor and ask for money. You have to not be afraid to speak up in a conference meeting or things like that. I really think one of the skills I've learned is in the beginning, I was a little timid and scared because I was like, these people aren't going to respect me. They're all older. They're all more successful, but you just have to fake it. And eventually you will see yourself becoming very confident and then it'll become second nature. You won't even think about it. So I'd say I've learned how to not be afraid.
Yeah. Because if you don't try, then you won't get anywhere.
No.
Yeah. So for our final question for you is on the podcast, it's known as the big question. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. So our question to you is, if you were to give anyone below the age of 20 and younger, what advice would you give them about starting a company or developing skills that will help them in their future career?
I know this is probably something someone wouldn't say on a podcast or in the news, but I honestly think having a relationship with God is the number one indicator and helper for your success. I'm not kidding. It's the secret superpower that a lot of people will not talk about in the workplace. They won't tell you that on the news or in the article. But if you looked at what that person does outside of their work, their relationship with God, their relationship with their family, how they serve other people, that success, the private victory translates to the public victory. So I'd honestly say, like, develop a relationship with God, like have religion in your life, have values that you stick to, because that is my core. Like at the end of the day, like I have all of these things, I've developed all these skills, like I have relationships, like, but at the end of the day, if I lost my relationship with God, I would lose like everything. Like I feel like God is helping me in every step of the way. And a lot of times people feel that they have to separate like their work and their career from their religious or their belief, right? But I think they're connected. They work together. And I think you should pray for the success of your business. So like to entrepreneurs out there, like involve God. Like when you're going through a hard time, like pray for help. If you need ideas or you need the right like coworker or the right co-founder, like pray to find them. I think it's not talked about enough. And I'm not scared to say it, but it really, at the end of the day, involve God.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we just want to thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us and talk to us about your career. And yeah.
Yep. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome.